Hello, wedding industry professionals. My name is Natasha and I'm the Managing Director of ABIA Weddings. As some of you would know, the ABIA had a scheduled meeting with the Coronavirus Business Liaison Unit, which is part of the Treasury, earlier this morning. The Coronavirus Business Liaison Unit was appointed by the federal government to collect information and data on specific industries and to then relay that to the federal government to then make decisions within the National Cabinet. We can confirm that the meeting that was meant to go for 30 minutes went for 55 minutes, and the data and information and concerns that we had provided in the meeting were received really well and really positively, with a lot of statements like great point, valid point. We are certainly going to be taking that further. I must say a big thank you to Rodney Harris, who is the manager of the industry in terms of the Coronavirus Business Liaison Unit, and of course Nick Barkman, who is the manager of the cross-portfolio team, and of course Elena Custer, who set up the meeting for us. We weren't able to have this meeting without the support, the assistance and the completion of surveys from nearly 800 businesses who submitted their answers on how COVID-19 had impacted their wedding businesses through ABIA surveys. So I must extend a huge thank you to those wedding businesses who took the time to fill out our surveys. With that information, we were able to create a 14-page report and submit that to various local, state and federal governments, which was submitted a few months ago now, but has led us to this point. I can confirm that we are absolutely speaking to the right people, considering they are bringing your industry concerns to the federal government and national cabinet, which is where decisions are made and where influence can be made across various states as well. So this is good news for the wedding industry. I'm just going to touch on some of the points that we raised and some of the concerns that so many wedding businesses have, as they had mentioned in the surveys that ABIA had sent out. On average, we can confirm that at this stage there is still a 78% revenue loss, as per our most recent survey. One of the most common concerns that we raised is that the wedding industry has been treated differently to other industries, and that weddings are an exclusive and private event where guests can be easily tracked and traced. They always have been, considering the couple have always provided the names of their guests to their wedding venues. So we mentioned that wedding venues already have systems and procedures in place where they can collect the information of guests in terms of their contact details, email addresses, phone numbers, and so forth. And in the meeting, they mentioned that this is such a valid point, the fact that it is an exclusive event and that you don't have strangers coming into a public venue like some other venues. I won't raise the contradictions, but I think that many people would know what I'm referring to. We also raised the common concern of the financial viability as a wedding business. Wedding businesses do operate a lot differently to any other industry, considering that wedding planning takes between 12 to 18 months and in some cases 24 months. So with all of the postponements, that has then delayed the closing of an invoice, which has then impacted the cash flow for a business as well. But that doesn't mean that the bills don't keep coming. So as appreciative as the wedding industry is of the JobKeeper payments, it simply isn't enough for them to be able to sustain their business at this stage for another 6 or 12 or 18 months. So I'll delve into the solutions and the suggestions that the ABIA and other wedding businesses had, but we'll just address the common concerns for now. So first is that it is a private and exclusive event, and the wedding industry has been treated a lot differently to other industries with a few contradictions. The financial viability as a wedding business, the fact that rescheduled weddings are impacting future bookings, which again has an impact on cash flow, but the bills keep coming in. Of course, as per the survey that we released recently, a huge concern amongst so many businesses is the restrictions on dancing and mingling, and that is a really major reason as to why so many couples have postponed their wedding. I guess it goes back to the fact that weddings are a private and exclusive event, and that COVID-safe measures can be put into place to ensure that there is dancing and that there is mingling as well. So that was raised, and that was really appreciated too. We also raised the square metre rule. So at this stage in most states it's 4 square metres. We suggested that there should be a 2 square metre rule, which is currently implemented in Western Australia and has had great success in terms of no community transmissions. So the reason why we raise that is because there are so many venues that have actually ceased operation for the time being, just because it's not viable for them to continue with a wedding in such a small space, because some wedding venues are really small. So to bring it down to 2 square metres means that they can be operational again. And of course, those larger venues, that means that they could have more guests, of course, having COVID-safe procedures in place as well. We also raised another common concern, which is extending JobKeeper to the second owner, whether that is a business or whether you are sole traders. At this stage, there are a lot of wedding businesses that are owned by married couples and de facto couples, and only one of the owners are eligible for JobKeeper, which means that even though they have so many expenses associated to their business, in terms of their personal life as well, it's really, really hard to manage mortgage repayments, lease repayments, and of course just putting food on the table. So we pleaded and said that there really needs to be an extension of JobKeeper to the second owner, especially in the wedding industry when cash flow is so disrupted due to the nature of weddings. And of course the implications of the restrictions on dancing and mingling has caused further postponements and further cancellations, which means a further delay on cash flow. So any sort of support from the government in terms of JobKeeper would be very beneficial to those married, coupled and de facto owned businesses. So some of the solutions that we presented to the Coronavirus Business Liaison Unit is for the government to support with an extension of cash boosts. So cash boosts have obviously helped so many businesses during this time. So we also said if you could extend the 100% cash boost until the end of this financial year for GST registered businesses only, and then in the second year to have a 50% cash boost, because hoping by that time weddings will be coming back to fruition. So it's 100% cash boost for the next X amount of months and up until the end of this financial year, and 50% cash boost for the next financial year. We also suggested that there really needs to be an industry authority that represents all wedding services within the wedding industry. This was discussed in length, and a lot of wonderful points were raised, and the Corona Business Liaison Unit said that they will be getting us in touch and connected with the relevant representatives that can help bring that to fruition, to ensure that the wedding industry has a consistent and unbiased voice that can then be the vessel of communication to the government. So that was discussed as well. We also discussed that there needs to be some industry funding for the wedding marketplace in terms of encouraging there to be more weddings. There has been a steady decline in marriages over the last few years. So to boost that positivity and to boost that confidence within couples to continue to have a wedding and celebrate their love and celebrate their marriage and have something to look forward to is really vital. This can evidently be done through local campaigns, state campaigns and national campaigns. So that was discussed heavily, just as similar to regional tourism, who have received $150 million in funding recently. So they are just some of the major points that we raised today. We did raise some other points that were exclusive to specific wedding services, whether that be transport and cake and venues and DJs and so forth. But what we wanted to do was really represent the Australian wedding industry as a whole, because it's very much about working together as a united community. I must stress again, thank you so much to the Coronavirus Business Liaison Unit for giving the wedding industry an opportunity to raise the common concerns amongst so many wedding businesses. And I really want to say a big thank you to the business owners and team members who have taken the time to complete ABIA surveys to then present really hard data and real issues that you're experiencing. It goes to show that when you work as a united community and you work together to lift each other up, that is when the results start to show. This is just a glimmer of hope for us, but this is definitely a giant step in the right direction, and I really hope that something can come out of this. If you have any other questions or if you need any sort of advice, the ABIA are always here. We have the resources and access to various information and people, so we would be more than happy to assist and support as a means of supporting the greater good. The greater good is what we really need to consider here. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope that this is giving you a glimmer of hope. As I said, it was a really positive response earlier today with the Coronavirus Business Liaison Unit, and that's federal government, so it's a good thing. Thank you. Bye.